Take 3000. Hello, welcome to Coffee Create Connect. I was just sitting here wearing these funky sunglasses and looking over a book that I accidentally bought on Amazon. And yes, I do mean accidentally, not accidentally on purpose. Like I sometimes buy things on Amazon. I managed to buy this by accident. I have no idea what it's about, so I thought, let me review it based off of my Purchase or Pass series, where we either purchase a book or pass on it based on the first line, then moving to the first paragraph, ending with whatever's on the first page. I want to just preface this. I'm so sorry. I've been through a lot since I've been off this channel, a lot, which is why I took a break. And I'm just now getting back, and things are still a little hectic, but work with me. Work with me. So, basically, I bought this book on Amazon on accident. It arrived in a box with other things I purchased on purpose. And I said, what is this even about? Like, what is this doing in my box? But then I decided it would be fun without knowing anything about it to kind of review the first line, the first page, first line, first paragraph, first page. I will warm my way back into being like a, easy flowing conversationalist, but for right now, I'm still dealing with a lot, unfortunately. As some of you know, my dog of 12 years passed away, and then before I could even kind of like work with that, my mom became the victim of elder abuse. So I've been dealing with a lot, and I'm just doing my best to find my way back to the community, to my love of reading, writing, finding time for myself, all the things. So thank you if you're still here and bearing with me. That being said, the book is Between Sisters by Kristin Hannah. And the first line reads, oh, and let me also mention my opinion is only mine. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean that you shouldn't like something. Just because I would pass on a certain book doesn't mean that you should. I'm sure there's books that you would pass on that I would love, and vice versa. So this is in no way to say, yes, my word is gold. And, if I say it's a great first line or first page, you should definitely go spend your money. Or if I don't like it, that you shouldn't. It's simply saying, this is the first line, first paragraph, first page. Based on that, would I personally go pick this up, or would I pass? And then, of course, feel free to share your comments. Just do so respectfully, of course. First line of, again, Between Sisters by Kristin Hannah. Dr. Bloom waited patiently for an answer. So that's the first line. Dr. Bloom waited patiently for an answer. Based off just that first line, would I purchase or pass? Right now, it doesn't have enough intrigue for me personally. It kind of just sounds like one of my favorite editors on Readsy, Rebecca Heyman, says, it's what she might call like a fact cake. You're just kind of telling me a fact, like the doctor's waiting for an answer. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't really spark anything for me. And again, for someone else, they might be like, well, what was the question, or this or that? But for me, just my initial feeling is it doesn't really prompt me to say, okay, I'm really interested. But we put way too much pressure on ourselves to get that very first line, like super intriguing. And sometimes it's not necessary. Sometimes by the first paragraph, it's like, okay, I'm in. And I didn't need some like explosion at the beginning of the story or some like crazy incident to get things interesting. Megan Dantes leaned back in her seat and studied her fingernails. It was time for a manicure. Past time. I tried to feel too much, Harriet. You know that. I try not to feel too much, Harriet. You know that. I find it impedes my enjoyment of life. So far, okay, that's the first paragraph. Um, Still not anything that's really making me sit up and be like, I want to know more. But I'm not at that point either of saying, oh, I would just put the book down. So I would continue reading. Is that why you've seen me every week for 4 years? Because you enjoy your life so much? I wouldn't point that out if I were you. It doesn't say much for your psychiatric skills. It's entirely possible, that I was preferably perfectly normal when I met you, and you're actually making me crazy. You're using humor as a shield again. You're giving me too much credit. That wasn't funny. Harriet didn't smile. I rarely think you're funny. There goes my dream of doing stand-up comedy. Let's talk about the day you and Claire were separated. Megan shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Just when she needed a smart-ass response, her mind went blank. Oh, God, that's relatable. She knew what Harriet was poking around for, and Harriet knew she knew. If Megan didn't answer, the question would be simply asked again. Separated. A nice, clean word. Detached. I like it. But that subject is closed. So yeah, all right. So the first line really didn't have me doing much. The first paragraph didn't either. But by the end of that first page, I am kind of intrigued about this separation and what happened and how, what was the relationship like. And now I have questions. I do find myself getting interested enough. And this is always a great sign that instead of making the next video about the next book, I kind of want to just keep reading this. So that's good. So I personally, based off that, would purchase, and I would love to hear your comments. I'm going to read the blurb for a little more context in case you actually do want to purchase this book. No one knows you like your sister. She can make you laugh or break your heart with a single word, and no one writes novels like Kristen Hanna, the best-selling author of The Nightingale and Firefly Lane. Here, she vividly explores the intricacies of sisterhood and family. As Tammy Hogue said, touches the deepest, most tender corners of our heart. In this rich and captivating novel, beloved by readers around the world, Kristen has created a portrait of two women, Megan Dantas and Claire Cavan. Sorry, I'm not going to butcher the last name, I'll just leave it. Once lost to each other, about to come together in a time of both joy and sadness. Sisters by blood, strangers by choice, each stands at a crossroads, afraid to confront the betrayals and heartbreaks of the past. They will be reunited at last, drawn by tragedy into the darkest of times, and must figure out how to face their deepest fears together, or lose everything. Da-na-na. So there you go. Once again, the book is by Kristen Hanna, and it's called Between Sisters. And I understand, listen, we only have so much time. We only have so much money for our book budget, whether it's, the budget of time to set aside and read, or even look through books, read blurbs, read first pages, watch videos, whatever it may be, and so much money to purchase books. So I figured this is a fun way to give some different authors a little more visibility, probably that she doesn't need it, but hey, it doesn't hurt to have more eyes, right? And give us a chance to kind of discuss, what did you like, what maybe didn't float your boat as much, and why. It's always good to know why, right? And if you have something to add to the conversation, or a question or a topic you'd like me to cover, please drop it in the comments. Of course, keep everything super respectful, as the way you would want to be talked to or about. And that being said, my next video is going to cover the book called Not That I Could Tell, by Jessica Strasser. I have been reading this book. I am on page 121. So this book, I can confidently say, I'm enjoying. I got it at a thrift store for a couple of dollars. I love thrift stores for books. Not always up to pay $8 to $25 a book. It depends on the book and, other things. But this is the book I will be reviewing in the next video. So I hope to see you over there. And let me know, would you purchase or pass between Sisters and why? Of course, with respect and love. Until next time.